Hey, sorry, my camera's messed up. Well, not messed up, it was sideways because it's a phone, not a camera. So I wanted to talk about coming out because I know a lot of people struggle with coming out, whether it be as trans, like specifically like male to female or female to male, or gender fluid or gender queer or agender, any part of the spectrum, or even concerning sexuality and not gender. Coming out isn't an easy thing to do. So I wanted to share my experience with coming out as well as give some tips on coming out. So first, I guess I'll share my experience. I had a pretty easy coming out experience because at the time I had 2 friends and a boyfriend that were transgender, and my family had met them and they had learned to accept them. And once I realized I was a boy, I started transitioning before I actually came out. I got a chest binder, I got different clothes. Everyone called me Kai except for my family, even though they didn't know why. They just knew that I wanted to be called Kai. So I transitioned a lot before I actually went to anyone other than my boyfriend, because my boyfriend knew before I went to anyone, and I said, hey, I'm transgender, I identify as male, and all of that. But the day that I did decide to come out to my family, I posted it on Facebook, and I actually still have what I posted, so I'm gonna read it, and I'm going to go ahead and let everyone know that I was still kind of misinformed. I said stuff that I don't necessarily agree with now, like somewhere in it I mentioned that I'm a boy trapped in a girl's body. I don't feel that way. I feel I am a boy trapped in society's view of my body. I also spelled transgender wrong on here, but you won't see that because I'll be reading it to you. I'm not sure if there's anything else I said that I didn't necessarily agree with, but please do not leave any hateful comments because of something I said in this post. Okay, so this is what I said. So I want to share something that may be considered a bit weird to share through a status update, but I feel that sharing it this way will be the easiest for me to do. I am transgender. All of my life I haven't felt right as a girl, and I told several people. I'm a boy trapped in a girl's body. A lot of people would laugh at me and assume I'm being silly. Last year I met someone who was transgender for my first time, and listening to what he had to say and how he felt and just seeing how he lives his everyday life made me realize that there is in fact a title for me. I'm not weird, at least in that way. Like, I'm not weird for being, what I was saying is I'm not weird for being transgender. I'm just kind of odd in general. But introducing him to everyone and them knowing he was transgender and then introducing others that are to people I know made me scared that everyone would assume I'm copying them. So I got too scared to say anything to anyone about it. I did begin making myself look more guyish as possible though. Now, a year later, I realized it doesn't matter if anyone thinks I'm copying anyone, because I need to do what makes me happy and comfortable, and that's coming out. I would really appreciate if everyone respected this and referred to me as a male. I understand that this will be difficult for many people, but it's very important to me. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to message me about it. I got pretty much complete positive feedback on that. I had a few questions that were commented on the post, and some of them came across as a little rude, but they weren't horrible. I don't know what the comments were. I actually just logged into my old Facebook to screenshot that post, and I didn't think about looking at the comments, but mostly everyone was supportive. I didn't have any people who were hateful or demeaning or rude. Well, there was people that were rude, that they weren't intentionally rude, they just were confused. And after I posted that, I lived with my grandmother and grandfather, and I looked at my grandmother, I was like, look, you're gonna read something on Facebook, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what it is. So I let her know, and she was like, duh, like I knew that already. So that was a very, very easy transition with her. So my experience went super well. I wasn't out in school for the rest of the year because I didn't want to have to go to my teachers and transition in the middle of the year because I knew that they wouldn't get pronouns right, they wouldn't get names right, and it would bring more questions and hate than I was wanting in my life if I did that in the middle of the year. But once I came out to my teachers the next year at school, it went really well, and everyone was supportive for the most part. There was all the teachers were. There was a few teachers that were kind of not great about it, but they weren't horrible about it either. They just forgot, I guess. Like, they didn't think about what they were saying, which was really frustrating, but they didn't do it to be demeaning toward me, at least that I know of. There was definitely some students that thought it was really weird, but most of them either didn't recognize me or were like, okay, whatever, and never even asked about it. So it wasn't too bad. But I also have a very diverse family. My mom is pansexual and has a girlfriend right now. So my grandmother has kind of gotten used to our family being a little different than what most people are used to. And I got lucky in that sense, and I now have a really supportive family. I've come really far. I'm on testosterone now, and a lot has changed for the better. Okay, and now to talk about you. Some tips for coming out. I don't really have them like written down or put together, so I might stutter a lot. And I apologize for that, but I'm gonna try. The first tip I would give you is to make sure you have a good support group. Like, even if it's not your family that's your support group, like friends, a therapist, someone you can go to if things don't go as you want them to, because not all people act positively when you come out, and it's a really good thing to have someone that's there for you just in case. You don't want to be alone if it doesn't go well. Hopefully it does, but it's always an okay thing to have a backup plan. The next thing I would say is to make sure that this is safe before you come out, because, you know, it's obviously you're probably going to deal with some judgment and hate from someone in your life because of it, even if it's your family, but make sure that you're not putting your life or safety at risk by coming out. Make sure you're still going to have somewhere to live, or at least be kind of confident in the fact you're going to have somewhere to live, because if you know you're going to get kicked out and you don't have anywhere to go, you probably shouldn't come out unless it's already a really toxic environment for you, or you have a lot of trouble coping with not being out. It's just probably not a good idea to come out until you're safe. The next thing would be, you could do what I did and transition before telling anyone, but you don't have to. It's all up to you, and it could go good or bad either way. But maybe either way, maybe a good thing would be to talk to your parents about, like, Caitlyn Jenner or Laverne Cox. You know, I know everyone's not a Caitlyn Jenner fan or even a Laverne Cox fan because they have a lot of trouble, because Caitlyn Jenner just isn't great in my opinion either, and a lot of people just don't like the idea of famous trans people representing our community, because they make the transition look so much easier than it is. But, you know, even if you just found like a YouTuber you really like and talked to your mom and was like, oh yeah, he or she or they, or, you know, whichever pronouns a YouTuber uses, like, is transgender, and they're going through this journey, and just see how your family and your parents and your friends react to it, because, you know, it can help you get an idea of what to expect, even though family is generally a little more accepting toward someone they care about, although sometimes it can be the opposite. Sorry. You know, you could try that. The next thing would be, a lot of people are scared of the confrontation, so you could do something like I did and post it on social media that your family's on, or you could do what my mom's taught me to do growing up, and that's to take and write a letter and give it to whoever you're wanting to tell, and then leave their area for a while. Like, say it's your parents, give them the letter and then go to your friend's house for like 3 days. Give them time to like calm down and settle down. Answer their phone calls if you feel that you need to, but if you don't feel you need to, then it's your decision. But maybe you should answer their phone calls, and if they yell at you, feel free to hang up, and maybe explain to your friend and your friend's parents, if they have parents living with them, what's going on, so that they understand, you know, kind of like why you're hiding out there for a few days. That way your parents have time to start to understand and deal with the idea of their child not being who they always thought that they were, and so they can have time to get their minds and words and all of that together so that they're prepared to talk to you. And then the only other tip that I can think that I would have for coming out is to be understanding. People are probably going to struggle with using your correct name and pronouns for a while, and if you get really angry with them for not doing it correctly, unless they're doing it intentionally. If they're doing it intentionally, then I understand, but if they're accidentally messing up, you really have to have patience. It's okay to correct them, but don't get angry, because it'll push them farther away from wanting to support you, from what I've seen. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment or message or whatever, some way contact me, and I'll be happy to answer. I just wanted to let everyone know, because I'm the kind of person, if I'm watching a video, I want to know what the person's shirt says. Mine, I actually can't pronounce the word, but it's a Dutch word and it means breaking the silence. Well, I hope all of you are having a good day, night, all of that, you know what I normally say at the end of my videos. And I hope if you're someone that's planning on coming out, or your friend is, or whoever is, that it goes really smoothly. And if it doesn't, or even if it does and you need a friend or some support, I'm just a message or comment away, and I would be happy to be there for you. Bye.